The arc, again, the arc of the civil rights movement is anchored into the transportation movement. Many people today trace this modern civil rights movement to events that transpired on a city bus in Montgomery, Alabama, over 61 years ago today, yesterday, December 1st, 1955. Does everybody know what happened on that day? Yeah. All right now, this is in Wisconsin, it's a text. Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat to a white man. And her subsequent arrest and the boycott that lasted not one day, not 1 week, but almost 5 years, force, and again, a power of people coming together, in this case, a class of people, a race of people, and that collective action led to a boycott. Again, that resisting, organizing, training, and then sustaining a protest that transformed that bus system. In short, the bus system realized that it was the people and their dollars and their rates and their fares and their fees that paid ultimately their way. That shortfall, that economic impact, your impact, the people's impact, brought about a systemic transformation of that system. And that is also true today. The question is, how do we recognize or wake up that the threats to transportation right now, the threats to the things that we rely upon to get us to and from our jobs, to and from our universities, to and from our enjoyment, how do we come together and organize, mobilize to bring about the change that we want to see? The answer at the end of the day, we saw at the beginning of the day, we saw at the early on that there was a sign with all the organizations. Right now, if you're not part of any organization, do become a part of it. As I mentioned, I'm part of this, as I said, president of the Sierr Club, but I come from a long activist background, and it is imperative that you join and be part of an organization. But in the cause of transportation, those organizations that are going to be able to deploy those resources, and as I say, in that organizing effort is going to be at the forefront by which you should be lending your allegiance and your support to. Another aspect that is also critical to us coming together and organizing and transforming this is that we talk about clean energy and smart transportation. Again, we recognize that during the 1990s that automobiles, after a study in 1991, automobiles and transportation were proven to be the major causes of air pollution and asthma with regards to urban communities. And that is still true. That is still true. And here we are in the face of anthropogenic climate change, and we're talking about ways in which we can transform our energy sector. But one of the biggest culprits is our transportation sector. We can right now, it is an issue of political will and choice, transform the sector with smarter, cleaner, greener transportation. But it's not just the purchasing of these technologies. It is also the manufacturing and building. And not only can we build these technologies here, and we can buy these technologies here, but equally the synergistic effect of that is also creating those jobs here. And this is something that we can, again, through resisting, recruiting, training, and sustaining, and building a clean and just just transportation movement, we can, as they say, make manifest these new opportunities. It's not enough for us to fight about the current inefficiencies within the system, because right now it's easy to divide our people on these issues. These are problems, quality control problems, that we need to work with the bus drivers union and the various unions and labor to, as I say, to work on these particular issues. Right now there's a bigger battle. The bigger battle right now is in Washington, D.C. And it's as I say, the iced tea formulas that fund this transportation dollars, that fund and build, as I say, not only our transportation networks, our highways, but it is these funds that come periodically to states, and it's those states' distribution of those funds that, as I say, set our transportation priorities. Right now, we need to come together and make sure as a people that these dollars are put and invested in our name. I am deeply concerned with the vote, because a lot of folks had, as I say, they voted for this current administration with the assumption that it would create jobs, that it would create living wage jobs. And we already saw the deal that was made for one company, one private sector company, a huge defense contractor. And that deal, while it gave the appearance of preserving union jobs, the reality is that company has already moved to Mexico, right? The reality is it's already moved. And so the issue remains right now, as they start to invest with these new technologies, this create these jobs, we need to give them the programs that, as I said, that they're seeking. We need to press for. We need not ask Washington to lead, but we need to lead here at the grassroots level to take back, as I say, our state houses, our legislature, to push for the dollars and the investments in a program that would allow us, the people here in Wisconsin, but the people nationwide, to set forward a clean transportation agenda that would, as I say, meet our industrial needs. And our industrial needs not only from the level of services at the community level, but the point of manufacture. You know, we can absolutely have a profound impact, as did Rosa Parks. People talk about we need the money, and because of the money and the resources, this is beyond us. Remember, Rosa Parks was nothing more than a worker who at the end of the day was tired, who wanted to go home. She paid her fare, and she wanted to be treated justly to get from point A to point B. She was disrespected, and she took her stand, and for taking that stand, she was willing to go to jail. And from that action of resistance, a movement was built around Rosa that ultimately transformed that system. Now here at this particular point in time, we can look at the micro issues that are affecting the state of Wisconsin, the city of Milwaukee in particular. But right now, we need to look even higher, because the secretary who will be speaking after me will be talking about perhaps some of the opportunities that the state or the feds are going to be engaging in right now. But they're going out. Within 2 months, roughly, a month and a half, this administration is going out. And that vision and that voice of the outgoing president, who believes in the effects of climate change, who believes in creating a clean, green infrastructure, who believes in smart transportation and clean transportation, that vision is going out the window, because the incoming vision says climate change is a hoax, it's a joke, and that we need to, as I say, increase and invest in dirty industry and dirty technology, and as I say, in dirty transportation, but also dirty labor practices. So right now is when we need to have that gut check moment, that Rosa Parks moment. Now, you ain't got to go to jail. You don't have to go to jail. But what you have to critically think about is at this summit, at where we are arriving together here at this particular point and moment, how are we going to resist? How are we going to recruit and, as I say, cross-pollinate and pull together our various organizations? How are we going to train? And more importantly, are we in it for the long time, for the next 4 years, to sustain a movement that will ultimately, truly bring about a just transportation sector, a transportation sector that's going to be responsive to all of our needs, regardless of class, caste, and income. But what that means is that we must recognize that at the end of the day, we're all in this together. It is all connected. It is that Genesis moment that you can't look at, you know, things are apocalyptic, it's the end, and we must all sink in our respective holes. This is the time when the Moses in all of us steps up and leads all of our people to that promised land. And that promised land for a just, equitable, and fair society. And that's going to begin with us coming together and saying that this is an opportunity. It's an opportunity on a number of levels. It is an opportunity for us to double down and insist upon clean transportation, smart infrastructure, more rail. What's going to move people more efficiently, affordably, but also has a low carbon footprint. Technical colleges like this, producing the skills and the technology that, as I say, would lead to cleaner buses, cleaner admissions, etc. Leveraging the youth, the community colleges, but also you, to insist on that transportation future that you're seeking and that you envision. Of course, we can fight for the current dynamic, and we should fight for the current spending allocations for programs right now. But the bigger issue right now, where we've arrived together here at this particular point in time, is we need to ask ourselves what kind of movement that we, as a clean, green, just transportation-seeking America, want. What do we want to build together?